your mind starts putting it in a box when maybe there isn't a box, and
Fuck boxes. Right. Zero ceiling, zero boxes, zero
yeah.
self, zero any fucking limitations, just pure a cannonball smashing through the let's see how far it goes in any fucking direction. I could have come out first with like an equivalent of a greatest hits or an easy listening, like all 2 minutes little candy nuggets. I could have easily done a revolver kind of style album, but I chose to say, fuck that. If you can get through the occasion, you're with me. If you can't, then why bother anyways? So I didn't make it easy on people by starting with an 8.5 minute track. But I feel like if someone survives listening to that album and likes it, I've got them for life. Like they're not going to find anything like it.
Today on the show, we are joined with the one and only Harkness. And I use the phrase the one and only because you're not going to find a musician like him anywhere in the world. Harkness is such a unique act, and you're going to hear all about it today. Also, to let you know, currently he has a documentary team following him around. I met him at an industry showcase where they were filming his set, which was so captivating and entertaining. And around that, as I was talking to him, there was a little camera over my shoulder. And also with this interview, I told them they could use whatever they want. So down the road, whenever this documentary is finished, you might see your boy Sean make a little cameo if they decide to use it. But yeah, around all that, I'm excited to share this artist with you today. Did I mention there's nothing like him? And yeah, that's what this show is all about, telling these stories of unique individuals. And I can break down the conversation we had today about Harkness and just life as a creative in general. But why don't you listen to it right now? So yeah, let's just jump right into it. Mr. Harkness, I saw you play the other week and it was great. What I really appreciated about everything about you is it's beyond the music. It's an experience, your whole thing. And I kind of want to know just the roots of what Harkness is and how this came to be.
I don't even know how to answer that, but there's so much to do. The music leads the way, but I love art and I love many other performers and visuals, and it really is just a natural evolution of things that just came together. I mean, I don't think my performances are anything like Prince or any other great performances, but they sure inspire you to do what the fuck you want. And so I also have a really creative gang of people that I grew up with and around me. So I might be spitballing with them saying, hey, I'm going to play live, like any ideas? So and they'll say, yeah, get some cool banners behind you. Someone said, have you ever seen these stands you can have your guitar on? So I compiled all these bits of information, would just dream in my bed, all the things that were coming at me, go, I got to do this DIY. I got to do it cheap. I can't afford a band. What's realistic? So a lot of it was realistic stuff, things I could afford. A lot of the things you saw were taped on with scotch tape. I mean, it's really, it's like it's a pure Little Rascals show. And there are a bunch of people behind the curtain. I mean, through the years, it's been a long dialogue with friends and people who know me well and cooking up silly stuff. You know, my girlfriend and I a long time ago came up with this whole thing because I was saying, I really want to share the music, but I don't want to share me and I want to be anonymous. And there's a lot more to this. There's a lot more layers to this uniform or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I was just laying in bed with her one day and she was talking about the National Enquirer. When people don't want to be seen, they just put a bar in front of their picture. They used to do that. Like, let's get a bar. Yeah. Okay, we'll do that. And eventually we made a mirror so it reflects the listener, actually sees themselves in my reflect. It's just all this stuff that kept tumbling and tumbling. And plus, to be honest, I didn't want to worry about my hair. I didn't want to worry about how I look.
Yeah, perfect.
This takes about 60 seconds to put on. Mm-hmm. I could roll out of bed, put this on and go on stage.
That's amazing.
Low maintenance. So
yeah, that's so ideal.
bunch of reasons.
Yeah, and even what's interesting too is prior to the show, I looked you up on Spotify and I was listening to the music, and I was actually expecting to see a whole band. And what impressed me, it's like just seeing this one guy, and you have a guitar and bass on these stands with like lights, and you'd have like a bit of a backtrack, but you're jumping from different instruments, piano, and again, it's like beyond just music. It turned into just an experience in a stage show. And yeah, you mentioned like just maybe not like being on the level of like some of your idols, but I think like you're pushing towards something very special with this.
Wow, cool, cool. You know, there was fear when I bounced it off of certain people too in the industry. I have friends of friends with record deals and managers. So I constantly do my best to reach out to people who might know better in quotations.
Mhm.
And one of the fears that one guy was trying to talk me out of what I wanted to do by saying, it's going to be too much for people. Like, what's he going from there to there? They're just going to be confused the whole time. And I just ended up sticking with my guns. Like, fuck it.
Mm.
I want to be a monkey in a cage. I want to have fun. I equate it to floor hockey or anything because I love all that stuff too.
Mm.
I want to fucking have fun. And what's the best? Can I swear? Should I not
Yeah, you
swear?
can fucking say whatever the fuck you want
All
on
right.
here.
Okay, good. Good to know. Get that out of the way.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to have fun because it could just be me alone in a bar with two homeless guys getting free shots and coming and going, and that's it. And I got to have fun no matter what the outcome is. So a lot of it was just, man, if I can play the verse on that, but the bass part's more fun in the chorus. And
Yeah. Why
yeah,
why not? Why not? The thing is I feel like sometimes people try to put too many rules on what a show should be. And I would think like differently. Like if I was at a festival and there was like 30 bands playing all day and I'm walking by and I see somebody like you doing your thing out of the corner of my eye, I'm gonna be like, what the fuck is this thing? I'm gonna stop and like look at it, you know? Like
yeah,
so I
yeah.
think there's something special with what you're doing. And yeah, it's again like an experience and everything.
I really, really envision it with a drummer, though, a kind of a white stripesy thing, a duo.
Mhm.
So there's some energy build between the two of us. I mean, right, I'm happy to kind of fly the kite myself and do the free fall, but it's really nice to lean into somebody else on stage too. And I really hope that I can find the right person. I already bought the electronic drums. I programmed them. I'm ready to plug someone in as soon as I can find the right guy. But he's got to wear this. He's got to be okay doing a few of these here and there.
Yeah, some little moves here and there.
So
Yeah.
maybe not for everybody, but I think
Yeah, yeah.
I think it'll be up a notch. With another dude up there and drum breaks and other things we can come up with together.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. And what's amazing too around all this, you're being filmed for a documentary. And I kind of want to know how this experience is always having like a camera behind you on your journey and everything.
You know, it's just unbelievably ironic is the fact that in a perfect world, I would be invisible. Like a lot of people feel that way. I just want to be invisible, be like the wind and enjoy things and just not have any kind of part of this was not wanting to have I'm camera shy and stuff like that. So the fact that now I have camera on me so much of the time, more than you can imagine. Over here, the night before the show, she's in my bedroom asking me questions. You know, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. It's
Hmm.
crazy. God love her though. I mean, luckily the person who ended up doing it, Masha, is an absolute godsend of a person and unbelievably considerate and all that stuff. But I can get to how it came about, but I just wanted to say how it's the last thing I would have necessarily wanted, but it's
Yeah.
happening. You know what I'm saying? I
Hmm.
get
Yeah, definitely.
and you know how many artists, whether it's Bob Dylan being a great example, they in their interviews they give just breadcrumbs. You ask, they're trying to get something out, and they give you nothing, nothing, nothing. I know that as I was making music and making this album, and eventually going to come out as an artist, that's how I wanted to come out. I wanted to be let the music do the speaking, ambiguous lyrics. Maybe I'm saying something big, maybe I'm not, but I'm not going to fucking tell anyone anything. They got to figure it out. But
Yeah.
now with this doc, I've revamped all that thinking, and I'm doing a open wound thing where I'm telling her everything about we
Mm.
just got to that place with talking to friends and people encouraging me, they're going to do it. You can't be this hidden guy for a whole doc. So I've just opened everything wide for her,
Mhm.
and she's been just amazing. I very much might regret it, you know, hugely, massively, but I think it's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it's something that like is like one of those like we'll see type of things, but I think it's actually really cool. I find sometimes like I'll hear music and I might not be like into it, and then I'll see like an interview with like a certain artist or whatever, like a pop star, and then you start getting to know them, and then as I don't know, somebody as a listener too, like I start perceiving their music differently. Like you feel like you have like an emotional connection with them. So I
Yeah,
think this
yeah.
is kind of cool that people are going to be able to get to know you and on this journey. And do you have like a end date of this doc, or is it just going to keep going until it's you find an ending? Because that's the crazy
Exactly.
thing about filming documentaries. It's you
True.
could go forever. Like,
Yeah, yeah. We have a sketch of an end date, meaning next early fall, September, let's say. And there's so many things that we hope to happen, and it's to be just extremely difficult making any impression anywhere, whether you're dressed like this or dressed with a flannel shirt, or there's so many bands and so much noise. So I don't think I'm near where I hope to be, after all the work I've put in. And so if we just can't get anywhere by the end of that date, another year, because it could just be on the same place, we might push it a little further. But essentially, we had a chat just last night, and she said all she really needs is to find a nice moment to end. It doesn't have to be a successful moment. It could be me meeting one person that connects and we both cry or whatever, and that's the end of the movie. She just needs something, a special moment brought about by either my efforts or the music, and it doesn't have to equate success or big success in any way. And she has not found that moment yet, so we gotta keep going.
yeah, but I feel like no doubt it will come. You're out here, you're working, you're playing shows now that the world is slowly opening, and yeah, like that stuff just happens naturally, like on your journey as an artist if you don't quit, like the moment will come in time, whether it's like a year, 2 years from now or anything.
Right, right. And the reality is, I have a shitload of music and albums already written, much recorded, not everything finished, but I just have so much to keep shoving at people for the next 5 years. Like it's
Yeah.
going to be nonstop, whether they like it or not. And we'll see where that goes. But yeah, I ain't stopping anytime soon. That's for
Oh,
sure. With a lot
that's
coming.
good. That's good to hear. And this, do you ever find it like I feel like the documentary thing is beautiful. Like I mentioned, two people are going to get to know you. But do you ever find like some days you wake up and you're just like tired, not in the mood, and you're just like, why the fuck did I sign up to this shit?
Course.
Yeah.
Yes, a lot of the times. And another thing is that, so you'll have Masha over here because it's usually just one-on-one. It's very guerrilla. She's dragging around her ass and I'm dragging mine. She's trying to catch up with me. But there's also many, many times where we film a bunch of stuff and she leaves and I feel sick. I just feel like, oh my God, like she's got that on film, whether it was me rehearsing and having a horrible day, which doesn't happen often, but she fucking films it if it does. And you got to be, and I've had to get my head around many, many curveballs as I've reacted to the experience, to just let go, let go, let go, let go, let go. You're not going to be fucking perfect. So now I'm kind of happily fucking up. I'm not trying to do it on purpose, but it's
Yeah.
all,
Yeah.
we're in a really almost magical zone, the two of us, Mash and I, with this flow. And that could go off the cliff in a ball of flames any day now. We could have a fucked up week, but we're in crazy sync. And
Oh,
it's
that's
because
beautiful.
there's no filter and no me trying to be precious, or it's just all that's gone.
Yeah.
It's been about a year of filming pretty regularly.
Yeah, I can see how like at first maybe you wanted everything to be perfect, and then after a while it's just
Yeah.
like you get used to it and get in the zone and get natural. That's kind of like a little bit with my podcast journey as well too. Just you
Mhm.
loosen up after a while, you get comfy, and the next thing you know, you forget the cameras on, and it becomes
Yeah.
more like a natural flow state, which is yeah, it's
Mhm.
such an interesting thing about getting filmed or putting yourself out there, and
Yeah.
yeah, just like how your mind has to adjust to like almost like purposely forgetting the cameras there and just being you.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. On that same thing as your podcast and my live show is that, to be honest, because I'm using wireless and these things are a bit outside of the box, it's different equipment. It's not just plug into the board and it's easy to go. It's a high wire act that I'm not comfortable with at all yet. And
Oh,
leading
wow.
up 20 minutes, I should tell you, 20 minutes, half hour before you guys arrived, I was getting no sound. The sound coming out of the speakers was the sound guy's going, everything's fine on my end. It's you, Harkness, like sort it out. I'm just like, and I'm not good with tech, right? And
Oh, yeah.
and it's just, and I have no team yet. Right now, it's just me. I've got no one was really there that could
Yeah.
help. I mean, I
Yeah,
have
and I can
lots of
imagine with
stuff,
all the instruments and patch cables going on, and oh man, like it's like,
and
where
plus,
is the
20 minutes to industry showcase, however you define that, I can't even get my shit working. That's my reality right now, and it's not a fun place. But I've had a few of those. I've had a few test gigs. Same thing. It was a worse nightmare. I won't get into it. It was just inconceivably difficult to get through that show. But I had to turn it into like a fight or flight kind of thing.
Mhm.
The shit was hitting the fan big time for me. Nobody knew it. And I turned it into everybody get on stage with me and dance, and like just went bananas just to
Nice.
survive the half hour. And it was incredible. It was super, super fun and amazing. But I've survived some scares, so I feel a bit more bulletproof. But I'm not where you're at with your podcast yet. I'm not comfortable in my live environment at all, technically. Musically, yes, but it's a fucking nightmare. I just want one person to ride shotgun with me and let's figure it out together. I don't like it being on me.
Yeah. Maybe that's the next step. May have a tech around, but I don't know. I feel like these kind of like nightmare before the show moments, they're gonna be things you look back on and like just have a
Oh
laugh
yeah.
about, or just
Oh yeah.
even I
Yeah.
find lots of different artists listen to these episodes too. I'm sure like some touring musician is gonna exactly know how you feel and like sympathize with that too, because technology, like a lot of it, like sometimes you can't even control it, like things just break, and oh man, it's scary.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Do your
And
best to stay ahead of the curve, but good luck.
mhm.
Shit's coming.
Yeah, and what's around your epic show too, it's like as you play too, even as I notice you're like soloing, jumping on different instruments, you have chops and like so many different instruments and everything. And I kind of want to know like how you got into music and what was like the first thing you picked up and
Mm.
everything, because you obviously been doing this a long time.
Yeah, quite a while. Well, real typical upbringing. Both my parents were musicians. My dad had a band until I was 14. He played weekends, and it was a little orchestra with horns and stuff like that, which obviously affected me and my instrumentation. My mom was a great piano player and a French horn player, but she was also the local piano teacher. And so, of course, she's teaching her kids too. But she also sent us to a really nice piano teacher, not nice person, but a good, she was a bit of a, yeah, a hardcore piano teacher, old school slap. Like we got hit a bit.
Oh
Um,
shit.
but so I think I started piano at 4 or so. And I think I did my first recital at 5, but it was Twinkle Twinkle Little Star or something. It's not some Asian dude playing Chopin at 5. Like I wasn't any of that stuff. So I played piano for a little while, pretty basic, nothing crazy. Some of my other siblings were what I would term geniuses compared to me. They were just flying off the shelf with the stuff. And then piano for a bunch, and then guitar at 12. Like a friend was already learning a bit. He showed me some Kiss songs, and I was already obsessed with Kiss and the whole crazy energy of rock and roll. And so that kind of added fire. And then we had a band when I was about 15, and we were starting to do more things like Rush, a little bit more progressive, difficult things. And our bass player just couldn't do it. It was one of those, oh, give me that things moments. And so I played bass for that band and really worked hard on bass, actually. And it became probably my most proficient instrument. Studied it with really heavy teachers for a bunch of years. I had fantasized about going to Berkeley and the big jazz places to study. I ended up dropping out of high school and hitting the road. getting a lot of STDs instead. But really, I mean, I had so many incredible musicians all around me on every instrument, really. And they were always a couple years older, but I was always kind of trying to climb the ladder to get them, which meant I had to fucking woodshed to try to keep up with these motherfuckers, which is the best environment for anybody.
Oh
And
yeah.
they were the killers. And I always felt inferior, always, which is where I think you learn the most.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting too. I find like I've been in moments like that too. I do like videography outside of this, and like sometimes I'm doing like these shows with like all these like crazy directors, and I'm just feeling so amateur, but like unconsciously, like even though like you may
Looking up.
internally be like down on yourself, like, oh, I'm not as good as these guys, as you're in that environment, you're growing and like just picking
Leaps and
up little
bounds.
things just by looking around and everything. And that's
Yeah,
interesting. It sounds like kind of similar with your playing and everything, being around like those type of people. And
very much so. Huge,
yeah.
hugely a product of my environment. However, you want to throw that into the analyst stuff, because I mean, I don't go there, but without a doubt, it was all environment for me. I was thrown in and like swim or you know, I guess maybe that's true and not true, because so I have 5 siblings. One of them just chose not to touch music, even though it was everywhere and all around them.
The
I could have,
rebel.
yeah, the rebel. And yeah, exactly. And with good reason, because all of us were, we're doing circles around him, and he was the young one. He was like, I ain't fucking competing with that shit. I'm gonna go somewhere else. Incredible hockey player though.
Cool.
But I suppose I could have avoided it too if I just chose. But I loved every single fucking moment of the climb, and
Yeah.
still do.
Yeah, definitely. And no doubt, as somebody sees you playing too, it's there's so much passion into that too. And one thing I love too was during the set too, like we mentioned, you're the one man band type of thing, and you'd like hop on the bass and do like this crazy like lick, which might be the backbone of the song, and then after singing like a verse or something, like you hop over the guitar and then you just start shredding a solo. And like it was so I don't know, like hypnotizing, you know, you couldn't like look away from the
Good.
stage. It's just like, what's he gonna do next type of moment.
Fantastic. I really had no idea what people would think of it. And this really
Mhm.
was the first public invite, and let's get some feedback. And I'm still trying to collect data about it, and maybe
All right.
don't do that so much, a little more of that. But the general consensus has been that they just enjoyed the circus. Like, what a great
Yeah.
circus, and keep developing it, whatever that means. And you know, more music, but whether it's a drummer and then eventually a guitarist and a full band, and I'll still probably jump around. I think even if I had a full band, I would still be operating on different, you know, vehicles of music.
Yeah, that's awesome too. And it's something too, like I mentioned too, if like you were at a festival, you saw a day of bands, see you, this is something people are going to talk about like after the show to their friends, like, oh, I saw this guy and he was just jumping around, like playing all the instruments and everything, and he had a
Yeah.
visor on, which was like a mirror. And it's amazing, even if they don't understand all like the metaphors of everything you're doing.
Yeah. Who
It's
cares?
cool, and like even brings up to the audience all these questions, which is also a good thing, because you're pretty much implanting yourself in their mind, and they might be thinking about it later on, like after the show. It's just
Whether
like,
they like
what
it
was
or
that
not.
about? Yeah, yeah. What
Yeah.
the fuck was that? Like, you know, it's so cool.
Who was that? Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a fortunate byproduct of chance. And like, even this get up, it's so contradictory. It's like someone wanting to be anonymous, obviously making a spectacle out of himself. And
Mhm.
but it's true that it hides me and I feel more comfortable.
Yeah, it looks comfortable too. It looks like
Oh
kind
my
of like
God.
a
Yeah.
snuggie with a hood on, you know?
Like
Boom.
PJs, it really is. I mean, it's like a nightgown from A Christmas Carol or something like that with a visor.
Yeah, yeah.
Very comfortable. Christmas Eve.
Yeah, that's amazing. And yeah, you also mentioned like you have like enough music for like 5 albums, you were saying, or something like
Oh
crazy
yeah,
like that.
yeah. So the next one is going to be called Chat of the Beauty, and the one after that is Bulldozer, and then Get Back to the Get Go, and then Billionaire, which is going to be a double. So technically 5, but 4, but
Wow.
one is a double kind of thing. And the reality is, it doesn't mean they're any good. It just means I got a lot of I've got a pile of shit that I've so
That's good.
sure
It's
he's out.
interesting you have a plan too with all the music too. It's in the order, like this could last like almost a decade, you know, like some
Good.
artists put out like 2 albums in 10 years, you know.
True.
that's
True.
that's
Mhm.
awesome. So
Mhm.
do you
Mhm.
spend like every day just picking up your instruments and just writing, or?
Well, to be honest, the last while since I finished the occasion, I've been doing so much other stuff, meaning even working on the live thing and calling tech and saying I can't get this work. I mean, it's been overwhelming, the hours and hours and hours outside of doing what I really want to do, even
Mhm.
getting the t-shirts done or the vinyl and files and artwork and then Instagram, and so all the stuff that all the artists are doing these days and have to do, has overwhelmed me in a big way, and I'm just dying to look the other way and get playing. So I haven't been recording music for a little while now, and I'm about to anytime. I've got music. There's a bunch that's already recorded that I want to mix, but there's new songs coming. I almost have to, I don't resist them, but I almost have to resist them. Like I
Mm.
don't want anymore, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
always do and always welcome them. But I'm just checking something on my end here.
yeah, no
Um,
problem.
Okay. Yeah. And as far as having albums planned, like the ones that I listed, it's kind of a malleable plan too. I do have song lists for them, but other songs come and go and they push things around. Things are constantly shifting, but I have a bit of a vibe for different albums.
Yeah,
You know, by the titles too. Yeah.
yeah, cool. So is it like what I noticed too, like with your music too, it seems like just heavy, like psych rockish type of thing, and is like all the, is that what you mainly write, or do you got like some other different styles and stuff like that, or is it whatever comes out of you?
It's that whatever comes out of you case. So if you listen to all the stuff I have here, there's some funkier stuff, and none of it's funk.
Hmm.
And I guess some of the instrumentation on the occasion, some of the songs you heard me play live are bass, drums, guitar, simple, really associated with rock and roll or psych rock. But some of it is more associated with Stravinsky than it is psych rock, like some of
Yeah.
the material that I'm doing. And there's zero filter on me when I'm writing, and no goal, and not trying to keep it in a genre. Zero. And essentially I recorded for, I'm not even going to tell you how long, but over a decade, just like a pig in shit, with no aim, no goal, no nothing. And that's why I have a pile of semi-eclectic stuff. And if I'm watching Japanese news and someone translates to it, some kid got beat up, and I will write the darkest motherfucking thing you've ever heard in your life. And I don't know whether I'll ever play it for anybody, but just go there. And then, oh, it's it. Then the sweetest, nicest, oh, the sun came up today shit. So the spectrum is just wide open, just doesn't matter. And I don't care. I don't think about it.
Yeah, I think that's good too, even like for doing that for so many years too. It's
Mm.
like after time you're gonna find something that's your own thing, you know. And even I said the word psych rock, but it was like
Yeah.
I couldn't
Yeah.
like that's not the genre, like it's heart, it's just Harkness, you know. And it's something people
Appreciate
have to
that.
see and listen to actually get it, you know. And that's,
Yeah.
I feel like those are like some of the most special things a musician can do when you just become like an individual, like.
Mm-hmm. You know, you saying psych rock, that's what I would, being put pressed, I would have to say that, or new psych, or some kind of relate to that.
Yeah,
And that came from playing my music for many people and asking what genre is this, and a lot of them came with it's something psychedelic and psych rock, or
yeah,
you just got to find a tag.
yeah.
Not,
It's weird too, like it's like so many people, even myself, it's like when you're trying to explain to somebody else what something is, like your mind starts putting it in a box when maybe there isn't a box, you know. And
Black boxes, right? Zero ceiling, zero boxes, zero
yeah,
self, zero any fucking limitations, just pure a cannonball smashing through the, let's see how far it goes in any fucking direction.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's got to be very therapeutic as a writer too, just to not have that I gotta be this one thing, and
Yeah.
just like, okay, I'm gonna do what the fuck I want today, and what
Yeah,
comes out. And then
absolutely, absolutely. I
yeah,
mean,
take a
maybe,
collection of stuff that sounds similar. It's like, okay, that's one EP or whatever. Like,
yeah, exactly, exactly. You kind of, and with the Occasion album, I didn't do that so much, but there's quite a, I think I could have come out first with like an equivalent of a greatest hits or an easy listening, like all 2 minutes, little candy nuggets. I could have easily done a Revolver kind of style album, but I chose to say, fuck that. If you can get through the Occasion, you're with me. If you
Mhm.
can't, then why bother anyways? So I didn't make it easy on people by starting with an 8.5 minute track, whether you've heard the full version or not. I mean, but I feel like if someone survives listening to that album and likes it, I've got them for life. Like
Yeah.
they're not going to find anything like it. And so and it was also one of those things, the typical, well, we could all die any day and all that stuff. Like I only put out one album. So it was a deathbed album. I really wanted to do the Occasion, and now I feel free to, the next album's actually going to be a little more sugary. And I love that stuff. It's going to be more of a look out, like one, like a jukebox, like it's just going to smash people, I hope.
Nice. Nice.
Mhm.
I like that. I feel like with those intentions, it will start smashing everybody, you know. I've how this is something I've been thinking about too. It's like it's not even like in art with like sometimes just even waking up in the morning, if you have an intention for your day,
Mm.
often like it'll make it happen, you know. It might sound like a spacey hippie shit or whatever, but I
Mhm.
feel like say like if you wake up, it's like, oh, I'm gonna have a great fucking day, like that stays in your subconscious and you start like
You make it
pushing
happen.
towards certain things even if you're not always like conscious of it. Like does that happen with like writing songs and stuff like that where you're like this is going to be like this and then all of a sudden it just turns into that like
That's a really interesting question, because I know that for some people, 100% that's it. They're goal oriented, and it fucking helps keep the wheels on the cable. And I can definitely apply what you're saying to lots of aspects of life. And it could be cooking, or I'm gonna fucking ace this hot sauce or whatever. But with the music and even drawing, so I draw a bit, it's almost the opposite. It's like the only way in for me is zero understanding or zero intention or zero plan.
nice.
And yeah, that really is the only way. But I think it might be different. So let's say I've finished written a song. I think the creation of the song has to be zero plan, at least for me. No idea where it's going, and then it leads the way kind of stuff. But I think once it's done, then I wake up the next day with a fucking plan, because now
Mm,
it's done, it's orchestrated. I'm gonna get the fucking all these instruments on. I'm gonna mic. Then you can kind of. I think the creative thing's one thing, but then making it come into physical reality, then you got to be concentrated and planning. And I think I do both. I do both.
nice, yeah.
Hmm.
And even like it's crazy like with like big ideas, whether you're like a musician, a comedian, a film writer, it almost like it seems like you people get in this moment where it's almost like a possession where they don't know where the idea comes from, it just kind of
Hmm.
comes out.
Hmm.
And that's usually like the most special thing, like where it's just again going back to what you were talking about, just kind of being unconscious in that at the beginning of it and just letting whatever it flow, you know.
100%. I mean, I know, having done this for a long, long time back in the day, I'm talking decades ago, honestly, when I would sometimes write a song, it would be, you'd hear the Beach Boys or you hear the Beatles, or it could be the Doors, anyone back then. And you go, I'm going to write a song like that. You're consciously trying to do that, and copy John Lennon, and even have a tape deck. And what harmonies are they doing? Oh, how do they do it?
Mm,
Doing a lot of that concentrated effort with a real direction to the effort. And I know that gear in your brain that grabs the wheel and says, I'm going to try to do this in a creative way. I know that really well from doing it. But it's been maybe 15 years since I've tried to write a song. They come, and they come fast and hard. And it's just okay. And sometimes they're so brain dead simple, sometimes they're shit. And I just finish them. I know a lot of artists out there, they're really precious with what they're doing, and they don't finish it because it's not quite, they're not the right word. Or I really do um, barf it out, and you
mm.
get 10, and then one of them's good, but they're all finished.
Ah,
You don't
yeah.
leave shit around. Like finish it, move on. Finish it, move on. That's been the way I've done it for my whole life. And I have the most talented friends who I know get stuck. I'm like, oh, what is this stuck thing? I get it too, because I've been there a long time ago. But I think finding that gear where it's flows and no judgment, right, of what's coming, and then you can look back at it and either put it in the set or put it in the garbage. But people get
Hmm.
hung up mid creation.
Ah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And
Like get
I
out of the
feel,
way. Mhm.
yeah, yeah. I feel like even if you have a piece of something that's not perfect, maybe down the road, and it could be years from now, it'll work
Yeah,
out. I talk to like a lot of comedians on this show too, and
really.
they
Yeah.
say like sometimes like they'll have like a punchline and it doesn't fit anywhere, and then later on, it's like could be a couple years down the line, they're just thinking of this rant, and it's like, oh my god, this is like fits right here like a puzzle. And it's like boom, and it's like the thing that gets the pop of the night too. So it's almost like important not to throw everything out, even if you don't
Yeah.
like it, you know,
Yeah.
maybe a piece of that later
No,
like could
for
fit in a
sure.
different song and it'd be perfect,
For
you know.
sure. For sure.
Yeah,
I'm just checking something really briefly here. I apologize.
yeah, no problem, no problem.
This is for my friend Masha that I'm doing this. There we go. Just keeping an eye on something
Oh,
for her.
you got a little video going on the side as well.
More of a recording thing. She wanted just in case to have, because I'm in my studio here. I can do a pan around if you want, but so
Oh,
I have
cool.
Mike's hand. He said, why don't you set up a decent mic and I'll have that audio if I want to use it in with his and
Ah,
technical.
beautiful. Yeah, that's awesome. And
Yeah.
also like you mentioned, this has been a long journey too. And when you started this, did you imagine it would morph into what it is now? You got the visor on and the hoodie and like
I don't think, no, obviously not. And I
yeah.
guess it depends at what start, because, if it's when I was 12, obviously not. I don't even know what the fuck I was envisioning me on stage with like some kind of kimono and platforms, something
Yeah.
different than this.
Yeah.
But
But you
I
still
would
were like kind of thinking more like theatrical with it, right?
Well, I guess so. I've gone through phases for sure. So initially, yes, influenced by Kiss and stuff back then, just the big spectacle stuff. Um, and then without a doubt, you start studying jazz, and then you're saying, no, like you're just going to be really mature and refined. So I went through a few periods of dressing down big time and just being sharp or whatever. And then different things have happened in my life to make me want to do this look and hide, and whether it's hiding or dissolve, there's different ways of looking at it. And so at a certain point, this was the only way I was going to get out in front of people. I wasn't going to be comfortable going and being somebody up there. I just couldn't do it psychologically. I no longer had enough of content of a person to present or something. It's hard to describe,
Mhm.
but I can reverse engineer and say this, that I've got this shit going on. I could see a day, whether it's next week or 2 years or 3 years, where I just take it off and I'm comfortable and I'm just okay with it. I'm just
Yeah.
not quite there yet. So this is not self-preservation, but this is purely like armor,
Mm.
it's that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. It kind of reminds me of like in a different way, Maynard from Tool. He's like the lead singer there, but he doesn't stand in the front. Like sometimes you might just see his silhouette, and he's like behind the drummer, and it's almost like
Right.
he
Mhm.
like you kind of mentioned, like of wanting to be invisible in a way. And is it
But
just
his
something where
spirit is,
you yeah,
but
is it just something where you want just the music to do the talking and everything as well?
yeah, I mean, that's such a typical artist thing, and I'm one of those guys. Like you want the music to be, you don't want to be the music to be attached to anything other than the music itself. So
Yeah, yeah,
if someone listens to the song, as far as I'm concerned, it's their song and they're the authority, and whatever it means to them is right. It's nothing to
yeah,
do with me. It's their fucking opus now. And when I listen to Beethoven, it's he's not here, man. It's just me. And
yeah.
thank
That's
you
really cool because
for doing
even
it.
though like it does come from you, you wrote everything, you put the act together.
Yeah.
Again, like it's almost like making the music a separate entity for you too, which is really cool. And to go back to the
100%.
psychedelic thing, it's like, oh shit, yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And so many guys through the years have said that, let the music do the speaking. And I don't know, thank you for having me on your podcast for so many reasons. And you've already been so like pigs and shit together. Like this is all making it so easy. And you're also helping me practice a little bit thinking about things too, because I don't know.
That's awesome.
I don't know whether I need to come up with catchphrases or learn a new way of saying, let the music do the speaking, because the amount of cliches that just come out, it's difficult to stop them.
Yeah, but also, it's interesting to just kind of dive deep beyond the layers and everything. And I feel like even though it may sound cliche, like what you're doing is definitely not cliche from my eyes. Like I've I don't know, like I feel like I've been doing this show for a long time, and just interviews of different artists even beyond the show for almost a decade too. And you're just like, I can't compare you to anybody I've talked to, which is perfect. I think is something so special. And I feel like that's going to be your superpower in the end, like it's like one Harkness, and like say you pop off, and then you're going to be the type of people or type of person they'll compare other people to you. Like they'd be like, oh, they're doing a Harkness thing or whatever.
Right. Well, I haven't gotten that far.
But I can see it getting there just because it's so unique in its own thing. And I think that's totally fucking awesome. And even just I'm not going to take up too much of your time today, but final question. We talked about the documentary, and right now not knowing what the ending is going to be. What would you want the movie to end as? And it could be anything.
My mind just went like in a million directions. Some of them were sexier than others, by the way. But I won't elaborate.
You finally take off the robe and there's like an orgy.
Yeah, pretty much. Fade to black. Credits. But yeah, not that you want a PG answer, and I know that. I would say really like a humble but ambitious ending would be that the world knows Harkness is around, period. And when I say the world, I mean media of anyone who covers music, who has a passion for music and is interested in music and art, that all those motherfucking writers and podcasters, they know about this music and they know about this dude, this semi-freaky dude. And they want to help share it. I want people to smell the fucking rose and go, that rose smells pretty fucking good. I want other people to smell it in a big way, not in a just local way. I want the garden to be worldwide. Of course you do, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't anticipate that being the ending of the movie at all, because that's highfalutin stuff. But I think, when I talk about having the music speak for itself and all that stuff, the reason why I'm getting the music out there is because, the music comes, you make the music, I've made a bunch of music, I listen to it, and I do feel separate from it. I mean, I feel like one with it in one way, but I don't feel like the authority or the owner of it. But I hear it and go, this fucking shit must be heard by other people. It's like baking a cake of a certain recipe, grandma's recipe. You go, I want everybody to taste this fucking cake, not because I made it, just because it tastes good. And so it's funny. It's probably bullshit. And sometimes I hear myself speak and I'm not sure sometimes, but I say that it's not me trying to make it and me, this guy, have mansions or any shit like that. I want that fucking music to be heard, and I'm just the representative to get it out there. But I definitely am not the authority on it or no fucking judge of it.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing and a beautiful intention and everything. And it's cool. I'm so intrigued with your journey, and down the road, I'm definitely gonna have you back on for a part 2, whether it's a year or 2 years.
Love to.
And just kind of catch up. That's one thing I think is cool about the documentary, and like, because prior to me doing these audio interviews, I tried to be a film documenter, and it ended up being too much work. And I'm like, I I could still tell stories in an hour by just asking questions and stuff like that. It would kind of shift that way. But yeah, I'm so intrigued by like this journey, and again, in my own way, I'd love to record more stuff with you down the road and see where you're at. And hell yeah, it's so nice to meet you and everything. And yeah, before we go too, it's like, where can people like follow you and everything?
The website's harknessmusic.com, and then all my other handles are Harkness MFA. And that was because straight Harkness was taken on Instagram and everything. And the MFA is music, food, and art. Those are my eventual things I want to roll out. I have a cooking show and make hot sauces and draw. And so one thing at a time. The music's going to lead and hopefully be able to bring other interests in and stuff like that.
That's amazing. You got the intentions and the plan for the future, and I just see great things happening with you, man. Hope you guys enjoyed that episode with Harkness. I thought he was such a pleasant guy. That was such a great talk. It's cool to catch up with him as he's going through a very exciting time right now. And like we mentioned, whenever this documentary is finished, we're going to share it with you. And most likely down the road, have him on an episode once again. Audio docs, baby. But before we go, last but not least, I need to thank all you legends on the Patreon. And if you were on the Patreon and listened to this episode early, to let you know, also with the Patreon things, right when I'm done every episode, I take the raw Zoom call the second we're done recording, and I just throw it on there. So with the Harkness episode, after this interview, you guys got a little exclusive chat at the end as we said goodbye. We dove into some other stuff, like another deep talk, and had a bromance, and it was a good time, and I hope you guys enjoy that. And also, you get each and every one of these episodes early for just like $3 a month. It's nothing. You buy me a coffee. And I can't thank you enough, and that's why I shout you all out. So special thanks to the co-producer Jeremy Hopkin of Hopkin Design, the Queen Ola Mazuka of Sonic Fold, Ryan Watkins of Ryan Radio, Amanda McKnight of Top 10 Nerd, Pat Maloney, Ryan Campbell, Daniel Sun, Devin Staple, Mike Ulio, Jenny Potter, Jared Pepper Bronstein, aka Mr. Spicy. Oh, he's so spicy. And last but not least, Francis Kopfer, aka my mom. So once again, if you'd like a shout out and all these episodes early, you can check us out at patreon.com/The Creative Imbalance. And there's a bunch of ones that are unreleased on there right now. So if you want more, go there as well. But thanks again for checking out this episode with Harkness. Hope you enjoyed listening to it as much as I enjoyed talking to him. And we'll catch you next time. Thanks. Peace.
This heart's a stone breaking up.